Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today for the 125th time, my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
Good, good, good. And as Chris mentioned to me previous to hitting record here, we're kicking it old school today. We actually had an opportunity to get the show out a little earlier than usual this week. Unfortunately, because of that, I didn't actually upload the art that we normally feature on the show, showing off the art in the books. But you know what? We're kicking it old school today, as Chris put it. You know, we're doing it the old school way here. We're actually going to be talking about the books, not showing off the art. Because if you go back and check the archives in our playlist there, when we first started, we kind of were doing that originally. Then we found out a way how to like kind of show the books like, you know, physically with a camera. And then we learned how to put some artwork kind of clips up on the actual screen here. So we've definitely evolved. But you know, we're gonna, like Chris said, it's kind of like an homage to to our old way of doing things here. We're gonna be talking about the books without showing off the artwork here today. But just know if this is your first time checking us out for whatever reason, you know, that's normally we'll feature some art on the show too to kind of show off you what we're looking at, what we're talking about each book. But we'll try our best here today to remember what happened in these books without the artwork. But yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, everybody. As I mentioned, this is 125 episodes of this. You can go back and check out our playlist to go and check out any of our other shows. There's also like special things that we've done where like every year we do like an annual Comic Shop Talk Awards show. So we've done a couple of those in a couple of years doing this, where we kind of highlight some of our favorite things that we read throughout that year. Those shows are a lot of fun. You can also go back and check out Chris. Sometimes he's been on other shows here on the Late Night Collectors community on Kraken Packs with the chat, where we kind of we open up cards, sports cards, collectible cards, all kinds of things on that show. And you know, also there's a trade talk that, you know, which, you know, eventually if we can find some more time, I'd like to do another one of those sometime in the future. We'll see what happens. That's kind of where we sit down and we discuss a collected edition comic book, like where we read like a whole graphic novel or something like that and discuss it. And I think the last time Chris was on there, we actually talked about The Walking Dead, the first couple of volumes of Walking Dead, which is kind of cool to revisit for me. And Chris had checked that out for the first time. So that was a lot of fun. Make sure to go check that out if you're interested in that. That's Trade Talk, one of our other shows here on the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of April 24th, 2024. And spoiler warning, if you are worried about getting spoiled in your books here today, you can always read your books and come back and check it out after the fact. There'll be no art to spoil you today, but like I said, you know, stay tuned until the next episode. So, and yeah, follow us on Instagram as well if you want to get a sneak peek every week of the books that we've picked up that we are going to be talking about on the show when it comes out. We do quick little video previews there to show you the covers that we picked up that week on Instagram at Late Night Collectors Community. All right, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
Let's talk some comics. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. First up on the docket here today, we got Ultimate Spider-Man number 4. Ah, nice. Yeah, I got the variant here, which I quite like as well.
Oh, nice.
Pick that one up. Yeah. And yeah, but what do you think of this issue?
Well, when I first started reading it, I was a little disappointed that they had the guest artist there. You know, I thought this would have been a nice issue for Marco Cicchetto to do his thing. But as I went on, you know, it didn't really affect me all that much. But as for the story itself, I think it was a lot of just a lot of kind of world building, I guess. A lot of chit chat there. You have Harry Osborn meeting up with Peter Parker and Mary Jane for a dinner date. You get to find out who Harry Osborn's wife is, and you know that turned out to be a big reveal. And then just some of the story going on that the Parker, Ben Parker, and J. Jonah Jameson, they're starting to try and put up their new newspaper, and just sort of details that are going along with that. So you kind of find out what's happening in Mary Jane's life, what she does, and like I say, you find out that Harry Osborn, his wife is Gwen Stacy. I thought that was a big reveal.
Yeah.
And, you know, just having all these characters there, you know, nothing's happened to them yet, but you know something's going to happen to these people, and it's not good. Like, you know, you don't want it to happen to them, but, you know, hey, if this is Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy doesn't live in Spider-Man's world, so we'll see how all that all comes in. And there's some, they drop that big line in here with great power comes great responsibility.
Mhm.
So I think that's a big reveal for this issue here,
Sure.
and it turns out to be Harry Osborn telling that to Peter Parker. And I don't know. I guess Peter Parker's almost coming off like a bit of a, I don't want to say a jerk here, but by hiding his identity from Mary Jane, where Harry Osborn seems to be wide open with Gwen Stacy about everything that's going on. It's kind of leads you to wonder if Peter's doing the right thing by keeping everything a secret.
Yeah, plus I mean, that's why Harry was kinda calling him out a bit here, right?
Yeah.
And, because he's already told Gwen everything, even about Peter, and he's kinda taken aback by that, and he references the fact that he has to protect his family, but, like, to your point, we'll see if that will backfire or not in this iteration of the character, right? Like, in this version of the Ultimate Universe Spider-Man, right? Because as we all know, that's normally a bad thing for Peter Parker in his life, that people know that he's Spider-Man, right? And then this, like, while I was reading this, like you said, I do miss Marco Cicchetto, but I think that it was a good issue not to have him on here because it was
Yeah, like I say, by the end of this, it wasn't a deal breaker or anything. But yeah, basically, there's no sort of bang him up and hit him down action in this comic. But I still found it very interesting.
Yeah, it was a talking head issue. Like, there was a lot of 9-panel grid, them sitting at dinner, a lot of expression stuff going on. Not to say that Marco Cicchetto probably couldn't do that, but I don't think that's a good use of his art, honestly. So, like, the fact
Yeah.
that we had the guest artist doing those sequences in this, David Messina, I actually thought it worked well. But yeah, and yeah, I just love this book. Like I said, you know what also kind of struck me while reading this issue, which I think people have already made this comment about this title because of the fact that he's older, and obviously Hickman's taking an approach where he's writing it as an older guy now that has kids and all this kind of stuff. It is just a very adult book, not in much in the themes, but just like in this book, for instance, you're seeing them drinking at dinner. You cut to J. Jonah Jameson and Ben sitting there having a beer, talking about the paper stuff. Just like things like that, where adults are going out and having dinner with each other and conversating. You don't really get that in a superhero book normally, right? Like, it
Yeah.
just feels like a very adult, mature kind of take on Spider-Man. And although this was an issue where no action necessarily happens, it was a really good fucking issue. Another one. Like, I just enjoy my time every time I read this book. And, I don't know. Like, there's already rumors going around. Somebody told me it was confirmed, but I saw his name on issue 7. So I don't know if it's 12 issues that he's topping out at.
What?
Go ahead.
No.
I
Hickman or Chichetto?
So I've heard, again, this is just hearsay. I looked it up. I couldn't find this information anywhere. Somebody had told me he was hearing that he wasn't going to be on the book much longer, which, to be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to be on the book all too long, but I just hope he doesn't. I hope he sticks around, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Like, come on, this isn't like writing X-Men or got a whole freaking world to take care of. You just got to get a few moving pieces. I'd be hoping he's enjoying doing this. Instead of wasting his time on freaking gods or whatever baloney he's doing. Freaking
he
stay here, take care of this.
To be fair, the person that told me that he heard he was leaving the book said he was going to leave it after the first arc. And then the solicits just came out that we looked over last week, and his name is still on issue 7. So I'm guessing in the first trade collects the first 6 issues. So all is okay for now, as far as I can see, because he thought he said, but again, I think if this book is doing as good as they've been saying, I think he would think twice to leave this title just, right away after 6 issues. I would hope so, anyways, right? So it looks like he's on it
for the next 5 years at least.
Yeah, so I've just been really enjoying my time reading this, and yeah, this is another good issue. And like you said, just the small choices, the Gwen thing, the fact that Harry, it was just revealed that he was Green Goblin last issue. They jump forward now, and they're meeting with each other. And I like how Gwen now is trying to make. She's like, yeah, my company's got. She owns Stark now. The Oscorp owns Stark. And like, she's like, yeah, we have way too much money. Let me help out with this project you guys got going on with the paper, the newspaper thing. Right. And I like how at times she came off like kind of like a bitch at times, but like she's like, I'm sorry, am I coming off too intense?
Yeah.
And then after dinner, she's like to Peter, she's like, oh, so did you like them? She's like, yeah, they were just really intense. I know, right? Like, again, it just like it felt like a very adult conversation between like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like people that are together. And yeah, anyways, great issue again.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but these issues seem to be happening in real time. Like,
Yeah,
because at the beginning of every issue, it'll throw out a month there,
yeah,
and I thought that was just kind of a fun little trick there that they got going on.
small things, right, that they're doing on
Yeah.
this book. Yeah, yeah. So what'd you give this one?
Well, now that we talked about it, I'm gonna give it even more. I was gonna give it a 4, but I might bump it up. 4.25.
Same. That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, 4.25 out of 5. Yeah, great series, great series. And hopefully he, like I said, I just don't want Hickman leaving anytime soon on this one. He's doing a good job here. All right, next
Yeah,
up,
JR or something. Come on.
Power Girl number 8, Chris. This is I guess one of the tie-ins to the House of Brainiac stuff that's going on.
Yeah, one of the tie-ins, and this sort of happens, I guess, at the same time as that when the invasion sort of happened. It's just, I guess, from Power Girl's point of view. And basically it's the same thing. Get all those robots and all the Zarnians coming down and wreaking havoc on the city. I think Power Girl tries to fight back, and of course she runs into Crush. Thinking that once they all take off, she sees Crush there. Trying to get some answers from her. And same sort of hilarity ensues. But I guess the big deal is here at the end, where everybody's looking for everybody. I guess Power Girl or Superman runs into Power Girl. So it's always a good scene when Superman and Power Girl are together.
Yeah.
And and he's like, "Oh, I'm glad you're still here," because I guess since she's from Earth 2, the Brainiac scans didn't register her as a person worthy to be taken or trapped. And then Power Girl, of course, goes, "Okay, Superman, go find your family. I'll take care of Metropolis." So it wasn't like a super important tie-in, but it's still a fun issue. It's kind of this Power Girl is back on track. They're none of this Fermia thing of the last couple issues, like with the Archie art style that I like to comment on. It was more back to a normal comic. At least I enjoyed that part.
So I read this one as well, just because I've been reading the House of Brainiac stuff. I read this online. I just want to say a couple of things though, and I know you've read some issues previous to this. Like, first off, I hate how they like do this shit where they like at the start they got Power Girl goofing it up by like skating around like she's like some clumsy like
Yeah.
super good looking fucking blonde that can't get it together with a man. I hate this shit where they always do this where she's like texting this guy and then they cut to this
Oh yeah.
that's a doctor that's scaling the side of the building. What the fuck is going on there? Is that guy not who he seems to be? Like who he's
I
like,
think he's got his secrets, I'd imagine.
and he gets kind of warped away, it seems like, as part of this, whatever's going on with the
Yeah.
Zarnians when they attack. I just love how like one of arguably the best looking superheroes like in DC is just like fumbling around trying to like
Yeah, oh, you think he likes me? Let me tell you, here's a secret. Everybody likes you, okay?
as the opening to this comic, I was like, what is this? A fucking romantic comedy? She takes off her glasses, like, I'm like, really? Like, yeah, I was just, are you serious right now? Like, I can understand, like, good look, like, because sometimes you hear about this. Apparently, good looking women have a hard time meeting men, but this fucking guy, like, he's like, he's like, is this flirting? He's like, you better fucking believe it. I'm scaling the side of the building here. Then they cut to him, and he's like scaling a building, trying to text her back. You better believe this guy is interested. Are you fucking kidding me? I was just like, I just found that entertaining. I haven't read any of the issues prior to this, but that whole scene at the start before like the shit went down with the Zardians
Yeah.
that we kind of got a little preview of in the Superman or Action Comics issue when they were all like having a nice day out, like, and then all of a sudden this shit happens. I thought that was just funny. I was like, yeah, fucking right. This girl's like having trouble finding men. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, anyways, other than that though, yeah, it was fine. I think I hit on the same feeling you did though, where I'm like, this wasn't really required reading. Not like everything that happened in this issue, except for a little bit of the Crush stuff. That That's her name, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was basically already in the other issues at this point, kind of saying like Power Girl's helping out in lieu
Yeah.
of Clark leaving, right? So yeah, it was fine. Yeah, what'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75. I enjoyed it more than I have recently.
I gotta give it a bit less. I would probably give it. Yeah, okay, I'll give it 3.5. I was gonna go 3.25, but as cheesy as that part was, it did make me laugh. I kind of like that whole intro, so I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. That's
It'll
fine.
grow on you.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Duke number 5, the conclusion of this mini series here. Yeah, what'd you think of this, Chris?
This was okay here. It's sort of, I guess the series sort of waxed and waned. I thought this might not have been one of the strongest issues of the whole series. That's for sure. They got, I guess, Duke meeting Destro. I thought maybe for a moment there, if they're going to rewrite sort of, a new path for all this stuff, maybe Duke might have joined Destro at that point, but
Mhm.
you kind of gave him the old, oh yeah, I gave him the Brooklyn handshake almost, and, tried to give him a head. But why would you headbutt a guy with a steel head? But there are some good scenes in it when he's fighting that android, the bat.
Let's show off his suit, though. Come on now, the suit is pretty sick. Like thug Destro, I like it. Where he's just like, yeah, look at me in my gangster ass suit. I liked that. I was like, nice.
Well, what ruined Destro for me is that stupid Destro from the movies there, where it was like he was like some Australian or New Zealand guy or something. He had the thick accent, or I don't know what he was, or if he was Irish or. So that's always in the back of my head now. Before Destro was like just a voiceless person here. Now he's back in business here. But there's some good fights in there, like even with that android. He rips the head off the android. He thinks it's all over, and that android's still doing its thing. Then he just beats that android like Predator style with
Yeah,
his own head.
yeah.
And they did fool me too there, where like kind of there's a page there where after Major Blood blows up the base and they
Mm-hmm.
go Duke is dead. I go, oh wow, they're really taking this
Same.
story for a turn. Maybe that's why they just put it in a miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to kill Duke right in the beginning, and that'll be the catalyst of whatever for the GI Joes, or I guess the GI Joes don't exist here because these guys still haven't
Yeah.
come together as a unit, let's say.
Right. And then by the end of it, like they make it seem like it's like US government versus the robots. They don't even know at this point that
Yeah, there's good and bad. They're just
yeah, because
alien invaders at this point.
yeah, because he has Optimus Prime on his like tablet there at the end, where he's just like, "All right, well, I guess we're doing this." Because basically, like, yeah, you're right. I actually got fooled by that too. I thought they did take Duke out, but then basically he's just going into like black ops type thing. Like,
Yeah,
like he's gonna be like a secret. Like they made it seem to the general public that he's dead, and now he's just going to be part of like a secret group to try to take down the
yeah,
robots.
probably like the beginning of the GI Joe team. The special forces or whatever.
Yeah, which that's a trope, let's say, that we've seen in many action films and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and that's kind of what this
the
felt like.
lethal weapon now.
Yeah. This kind of felt like this, like that at the best of times in this miniseries. I think like that's the tone I think they were going for in this one. Yeah, I agree with you. It was a bit of a quick wrap up, and we didn't get as much, I think, like interesting story beats as in previous issues in this one. But that being said, there was a good couple of action moments, and they got to wrap things up anyway. So,
Yeah,
like for me, I thought it was a decent issue still, but overall, it's a solid mini series. I thought this one, and yeah, I'm just still all in on the Energon stuff. I'm really liking everything, and with coming out of this one, I'm interested to see what they do with the Destro series. They gave a little preview in the back of this one
yeah.
as well, and yeah, I'm really interested to see what they do with that one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What'd you give this then?
No, I give this a 4, no problem.
Yeah. No, I think I might go 3.75 on this one actually, but still, I liked it. I give the whole series a 4 though. I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
pick up the trade, guys. If you're interested in this one, this is a solid entry into the Energon stuff, I thought, and you don't really need to have any previous knowledge of these guys. It's a good action story, and yeah, good art, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Chris. Next up, Daredevil number 8. Now, I read the first story on this. I didn't read the whole thing, but I read the I guess like the main writer, Saladin Ahmed. I read his story at the start
Yeah.
here. This is the anniversary issue of some sort. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
let's.
I think it's like 60 years. I got the Frank Miller.
Oh, that's nice.
You
That's a
know, if
nice
you got,
cover.
if you got a 60th anniversary issue and it's Daredevil and they give you a Frank Miller cover, you got to take it, you know.
Yeah, good call. Yeah,
I read most of the stories in here, but I just read this, a little while ago and just thinking about it, in that main story, which I guess is still following the main storyline. It looks like Matt is getting his memories back, and I guess he'd been fighting these demons, and these are all supposedly his seven deadly sins. It just sort of reaffirmed all the things I was thinking about why I dropped this. And I'm not really interested in that storyline and just some of the beats of the story. I don't get, now I guess Elektra's back in the picture, it looks like. And he's still not, he's having memories of, I guess, their previous life, but now he can't be with her because he's taken his vows as a priest. Like, come on, are you serious? You think somebody would turn that down? Not even like if he just met her, and then the sparks fly, but he has memories of
yeah,
a previous life of, of everything they might have went through, and they have a pretty heavy history. And he'd just go, "Oh no, I've been reborn now as a priest, and I'm just gonna, I'll stick with that for now and see how it goes." Wrong. I'll say that much. So that's one beat of the story. I just can't. But if you can't buy one beat of the story, you can't buy anything of the story. And that seems to be what it feels here. But I guess a big reveal at the end is
yeah.
the I guess you had Bullseye in here. I'm surprised that Bullseye he took it to the Daredevils pretty easily, which I didn't think he was that much of a powerhouse. But I guess for the story. But then at the end they bring in Kingpin, which once again it doesn't make sense to me why the Kingpin decides all of a sudden he wants to be another player in the game. Because if he did want to be a player in the game, he could have had it all when the gang war was going on. He could have been the boss of everything there. But now he's like, oh, I just want Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah,
Not a fan.
I mean, like I said, I only read that story, the one you've mostly been commenting on, which is like the main series story, and then you had some backup stories, I guess, because it's like an anniversary issue.
Yeah,
But I think, like you said, I think once again, I think that main story is just reaffirming and why I've kind of dropped this, and I probably won't be revisiting it again. I only read this because of the anniversary issue factor of it, and I was like, okay, maybe they're gonna be setting up a new interesting storyline. And like as much as like all like the usual players seem to be kind of in the mix again now of like a classic Daredevil story, it doesn't feel in any way like a classic Daredevil story, which sometimes is a good thing, but not in this
yeah,
case as far as I'm concerned. Because like you said, you got the Sin storyline going on, which I'm not a big fan of. You have the thing about him being a priest by day, Daredevil by night still, which I don't know why they haven't fucking moved on from yet because, like, we're already past the first arc. Drop that fucking plot. I don't know why that's something
yeah,
that's still existing here. Yeah, I'm not buying what they're selling here. I just like,
yeah. Like, can you imagine? Like, they have the storyline where you want Matt and Elektra to be together for so long. They are together, and this is how they put them together. Like,
yeah,
come on,
yeah,
get
and
the Darky back on here and freaking right the ship.
yeah, this is one of those things where I might either revisit it somewhere down the line when, let's say this guy stays on here for a while and you hear, hey, that was a good run. Oh yeah, okay, maybe I'll go back, which just happens sometimes. I'll go back and relook at it and be like, okay, maybe it got better or something. But yeah, right now I just can't. I'm at this point I'm just
I'll
waiting.
revisit when they say, "Oh, sales are down. We got a new creative team coming."
Yeah, that's
And
what
maybe they'll start it at one again. But if they don't, then I'll check it out again.
yeah, same. Yeah. So what'd you give this? Or did you want to comment on any of the
Um,
other
the other
stories?
story, I read a few of the other stories. It's all the same old, I guess, whatever, legacy or not legacy, but homage type stories. They're all kind of feel good stories about Daredevil. I think there's one where he goes to some blind school and he saves some blind little kid, and the little kid helps him out while he's fighting the enemy. He's wearing the yellow and black costume. Oh, there's a good story with the Punisher though. That one was pretty decent. Some little girl hires Matt Murdock to try and help her father. Her father was like a bad guy, and he's trying to do good things. So his father's sort of in a warehouse, full of all this drug making stuff, and the Punisher's about to just snipe him out. And Daredevil shows up for whatever reason. He's got some black armor, I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's pulling from some of the previous stories.
Yeah.
So Daredevil and Punisher have a bit of a go on things, and then you find out that the guy inside, he's trying to reform himself, and he's not making drugs in there. He's making like medicine. He's making diabetes medicine or something to give out to the poor. So Punisher's like, oh well, thanks. Not saying, well, thank you, Daredevil, but he admits that if Daredevil would show up, he would have shot this guy, and the guy wasn't really doing anything wrong.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
But then, at the same time, since this guy's got this warehouse full of all this drug load, some gang tries to come in there, and I guess one of the scenes is, Daredevil's trying to save the guy and the kid, and the Punisher goes out there to stop it, and basically Punisher says, "Yeah, Daredevil, you do you, and I'm gonna do me." He goes out there, and they got some armored tank coming in there, and Punisher just drops some grenades in there and blows them both up, which is good. And they have a little conversation at the end, and you know, we agree to disagree on how things go.
Right.
That was a decent story, but the rest, then there's another one about Elektra I didn't bother reading. Yeah, yeah, that was about it. So that was it was good to see Frank Castle as the Punisher, and it's
Sure.
good to see that they decide to put him in there. Maybe they're just sort of testing the waters
Yeah.
with a true Frank Castle story.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
He'll be back for sure.
Yeah. So do you have a rating for this? What do you think about this overall?
3.5.
Yeah. I can't really, like I said, I only read the main storyline. So if I was going to go off of that, I'd probably give it around 3.25 or whatever, but I didn't read the rest of it. So I don't know. But I'm still just not interested in.
Yeah, if you're not following everything in the Marvel world, it's a big deal. The Punisher or the Kingpin shows up at the end.
Right.
Well, this is sort of connected to the real world because they do reference him as being the White King at one point too. It's like if you're the White King, I think White King is about higher in stature than Kingpin.
Right. Right.
Who knows?
All right. So next up, we got Drawing Blood #1. This is the first issue from the story's by Kevin Eastman, but I think it's co-written by somebody. I think he just kind of came up with the story. Yeah, it's created by Kevin Eastman, story by David Avallone, who I'm not familiar with. He wrote the script for this. And the artwork here is by Ben Bishop, who he did majority of the art in I think the Last Ronin, the original series that they did. So it was cool to see him on something like creator own. And I think he had started doing this and self-publishing these or putting them out through another publisher. Like he did a couple of issues a few years ago, and it was called the same thing. Now I don't know if that material is different than what's here or not, but he's brought it to Image, and this is going to be a 12-issue series. And like I said, I think he came out with 3 issues of the other one that was called Drawing Blood. And so whether this is just a continuation or a different take on that, or that it's the same stuff and now he's just made it a longer story, I guess we'll see. I never read that one, but I'm glad this is coming out through Image though, because maybe it'll get some looks on it. Like some people will check this out as a result, because I think, like I said, he came self-published the other one or something like that. And also there's some Kevin Eastman artwork on here too. He did some flashbacks in this one, some flashback sequences in his art style. But this is very, very, very loosely based on Kevin Eastman's life. There's a lot of nods. I don't know everything about Kevin Eastman or the history of the Turtles, the business behind the scenes, but I know certain things. So he at one point owned a comic book company because of all the money that he made from the Turtles back I guess late 80s, early 90s period, called Tundra. And that's for instance, that's mentioned in this issue, but it's not Tundra. It's called something else that sounds like Tundra, essentially. So you could tell if you knew that, not that you need to know that. You're like, okay, yeah, I get why he's doing that. And his girlfriend in this, she's I don't know. He basically says a lot of people have seen her nude, whether or not she's I don't know if she's a porn actress or somebody who's a model of some sort. But he's with somebody in this, the character, and and there's some nudity in this. And Kevin Eastman used to be married to Julie Strain, who was that chick from Heavy Metal, the one that has the red. You've ever seen Heavy Metal, the movie? She was in that. She was one of the main chicks in Heavy Metal, and she was a model, and she was in a Playgirl. I think she was a playmate of some sort. She was in magazines and stuff like that. So that used to be his wife, Kevin Eastman, before they got divorced. So again, like there's a lot of like things and about like the drug use and stuff. Apparently, like he got into drugs and stuff like that, and he went bankrupt, and he talks about fucking losing all this money in this book. So like after the fame of blowing up from the Turtles, Kevin Eastman made some fucking bad decisions with his money. And again, the main character in this book, like that's happening to him. Like we're following. First off, the issue opens up and they're fucking doing like lines of coke in a car. Two characters. So you're just like, whoa, okay, yeah, that's interesting. What's going on here? And then it breaks off into a shootout with some like mobster, like some gangster people. And then it kind of cuts to like this scene here. And then you get the kind of like the lead in. Yeah, well, that's not how it all started. Let's go back kind of thing. Like, right. And then they go back to like what the story was, how it led up to this point. And basically it's following the story of a guy who's a cartoonist who came up with these characters that aren't the Ninja Turtles, but again, or something similar to like an animal of some sort. They show them here like in this issue. So yeah, like I forgot what he calls them, Ronin ragdolls. So like again, this is basically him talking about the success of the Turtles somewhat. So this cartoonist, he found all this success and now he's not doing so good, and he invested his money in some things, and it looks like there's like money laundering going on, or that he's just stupidly wasting his money, or at least his partner is. And then anyways, he turns out his partner ends up dying, like getting killed, like he kills himself. And you find out that his partner, the reason why there was all this money that wasn't in the company, like in the books when he was doing it, is that his accountant let him know about, was wasting all the money gambling, and he owes the money to the mob, essentially. So now he's in the hole for this, and he gets fucking roughed up by them at the end of the issue. Meanwhile, he's just a cartoonist who's down on his luck, that can't recreate whatever he's created in his success previously with these Ronin ragdolls.
Yeah.
And he's doing drugs, and he's dating like a stripper or whatever the hell she is. She's like a porn actress or something like that. So he's like living a certain type of lifestyle right now, right? And now he's owes money to the mob by the end of this. So it's kind of like a very, very loose biographical kind of crime kind of take, like story type take on Kevin Eastman, I guess, in a sense. So it's really good. The art's really good. It's the type of story I kind of gravitate towards. I like this kind of stories. And the fact that it is by Kevin Eastman, or that he's involved, and some of the references to that kind of stuff makes it just a little bit more interesting, I think, to kind of read as well. That all being said, so I give this a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a good debut issue. I mean, we'll see how if it ends up going off the rails or whatever from here, because I think the fact that it's a 12-issue miniseries, I think, is quite ambitious. Like, I'm like, wow, this must be some story that they're looking to tell here, right? Or maybe there's biting off more than they can chew. I don't know, but I'm in for now, though. I like it. I like it. Yeah, it says drawing blood, because again, the main character is an artist, and then it says the story behind the story. So I'm like, yes, this is very interesting. I kind of like this a lot. So yeah, I highly recommend this. Drawing Blood #1. And then next up, you got Universal Monsters: Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives #1. This book here. So this is the second in the line of these Universal Monsters books that have been coming out through Image. The first one was the Dracula one by James Tynion, which I read, which was fine. This is definitely, I think, taking a different approach than the Dracula one did, where it just tried to add more onto the Dracula story that we know. This is kind of taking place, I think, in modern day, where the woman in the story ends up, she's like in another country trying to find somebody that tried to kill her when she was out there. She's like a reporter, and somebody, I guess, tried to kill her, and he's a criminal that's wanted by the police, and he's going around, I guess, drowning a lot of people. Like, I don't know if it's tourists or just people that getting in his way out in this country that she's in here. But she's stuck out there to try to take it upon herself to find this guy now. And she tries to like follow his trail in this issue, which leads her out to like some, like, I don't know, like bayou or something, whatever. Like, I don't know where the hell she is. Like, some basically where a creature from the Black Lagoon would be, essentially. And she ends up drowning almost. And by the end of the issue, the creature from the Black Lagoon scoops her up, essentially. And that's kind of where it leaves us. I really, I really like the art in this. I'm not familiar with the artist. This is written by Dan Waters and Ram V. and the artist is Matthew Roberts, who I'm not familiar with, but I really dug the art style. I will say that, but it was just okay. I give this a 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't terrible, but I'm kind of just interested to see what they're doing with these Universal monster stories, but there hasn't been anything that's come out that's kind of blown me away as of yet. But we'll see. This is one issue in. So far, so good. It's not bad. Next up, we got Batman Dark Age #2. Again, this is Mike Allred, and I got the Paul Pope variant cover, which I like. This is Mike Allred and writer Mark Russell, who did Superman Space Age. And similar to that, they're using this as like a alternate take on these characters to kind of talk about like Americana, like American history type moments that happen in American history and stuff like that. And in this one, which is a really interesting thing, in the first issue, got put into prison because he's like a delinquent of some sort and who just had a lot of money and was a shithead back then. And in this issue, to serve to have time served, it's Vietnam time because this is back. This takes place back in the day, and they allow him to join in 1966 Vietnam War, so he can go out of jail and basically enlist to help them. And all of a sudden, guess who's training them in their like little group in Vietnam? None other than Ra's al Ghul. So, it was really fun. Like in this issue, you basically see him training and teaching them like be shadows in the night during the Vietnam fucking war in the jungles of Vietnam and shit like that. So I'm just like, fuck yeah. When I was reading this, I was like, that's so weird. It's so different. I feel like any of these, like, these Elseworld type stories that I've read. And again, kind of pairing it with things that actually happened in real life, like the Vietnam War, and kind of using that and twisting it on its head by saying like, yeah, Ra's al Ghul was actually somebody who trained all these men in the war to survive. And then when at the end of it, he comes back after fighting in the Vietnam War, and he comes back home, and all of a sudden now he has access again to the funds because he's done his time, and he's of a certain age now that he can actually get involved in the company again, and the money that there's rightfully his that he gave up by going to jail. And by the end of this, it looks like there's a bunch of guys from the company from Wayne Enterprises that they send in there to basically, because right now it's run by a criminal organization in his place. They like try to storm his mansion to try to kill him, and he ends up taking them out. And now he's got this whole bat persona, and like he basically now coming back from the war and everything that Roz has taught him, he has now become the Batman. And now I guess we're going to pivot to him taking his money and this kind of new look on life or whatever, and become Batman, because they teased at the end of it that it looks like Superman's going to possibly be in the next issue. So yeah, I like this 4 out of 5. The Ra's al Ghul in Vietnam is the only thing you have to tell me to like this thing. It's really weird and funny. And very quickly, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver #3. I just read this digitally. Not as good as the previous issues. I think there's one more issue to go in this miniseries. The art was really good, but the story is starting to bore me. I think the Wizard as the antagonist, as the bad guy in this story, hasn't panned out to be all that interesting. And then Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch started talking again in this issue because they kind of fought as brother and sister in the first one. But now separately, they've been attacked by the Wizard. Now they've come together to take him down. And that's kind of what this issue was. And she's enlisted the help of the Vision, and then Scarlet Witch's son, who's got like Quicksilver powers, is here too. So yeah, I mean, it's fine, but I give this a 3.25 out of 5. All right, Chris, Jackpot and Black Cat #2.
Well, for this series here, where did I put it? I didn't ask too much for this series. All I wanted out of it was some decent art in there.
Yeah.
And some good covers. So, the good covers, it could be better, but this cover's still knocking out of the park. It's a fun cover there.
Yeah.
And the art inside, whoever's drawing this, what's the name? I can't see the name there. I think they must really have an affinity towards Black Cat. Black Cat looks great in this one. Especially when she's up there beside Jackpot there.
It's Emilio Lazo. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah.
That's the name here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's the artist. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and even just standing beside Jackpot, I think they you kind of put them side by side, they got to be equally done, but it just seems to be more detail on Black Cat over Jackpot. And on the story, I was ready to go for some ho hum story on this, and it's sort of been leading me down that path for the first couple issues. And the beginning of this issue was more of the same. You have Black Cat and her boyfriend there, or whatever, Paul, the most popular new character Marvel's put out in the
Yeah.
recent years. And then you have Black Cat, and I guess she has a girlfriend there, Amelia. And they're both, they're I don't know, there's some sort of shadow app that's getting to do bad things. And then I guess as this issue progresses, you find out that Amelia is the one pulling strings, in cahoots with the owl. And then you think, oh no, Black Cat's gonna have to go up against her girlfriend. And then it flashes to a page where Black Cat is sitting there with the owl, and they're all in cahoots, and so it's going to kind of put. It looks like it's going to put Black Cat and Mary Jane on a collision course, but they're seemingly be friends. There's one kind of panel where Black Cat saying, hey, can kind of lay off Jackpot. She is a friend of mine. She goes, oh, I didn't know. We'll see it goes from there.
Right.
But then how this relates, if you got to throw this with Spider-Man, since they're Spider-Man characters, I don't know how they like these aren't the same Black Cat and Mary Jane's, whatever. Anyways, but otherwise, the story on its own, it's giving me more than I thought it would with this little twist at the end.
I liked the twist too. Yeah, I thought that kind of added some legs to this storyline that was not really much of a storyline
Yeah.
previous to that. Yeah.
And the Jackpot power set, that is baloney though too.
I mean, it can be fun. It's basically Dial H for Hero, but what I don't like about it is that she has unlimited amounts of times that she can do it. Like
Yeah.
she pulled up some shit power, and instead of having to it's not like it has an expiration time or she has to wait. She's just like, oh, I don't like this one, and then she fucking got it again. I was just like, there's got to be some consequence. I guess it seems like too, if she uses the power, it goes away right away, right? Like if she has
She held that shadow power for a while.
right. Yeah, that's
And since when could she freaking jump and be all acrobatic and everything?
Well, that's the thing, though. I think it's very flimsy. Like we really don't know the ins and outs of the powers, and even the storyline is a little flimsy. Like if you start to kind of,
think about it.
Yeah, it's just like this is kind of like you said. I mean, that's kind of not what you came here for, in regards to this story. But I felt like the last one though, the Jed McKay one, was a lot of fun, and this one's not as good, but there's some good art at some places, like you said. It's okay. It's all right.
I'm not regretting buying these ones.
Yeah.
As I feared after reading that
yeah, sure.
Whatever that preview, the first Black Cat.
That was bad. Yeah.
Where it showed up or whatever. That was like, oh man, I'm in for this already.
Yeah.
But the next few issues, they all got sick covers, so I think I'm getting them still.
What'd you give this out of 5?
I was gonna give it a 3.7, but it's 3.5 easy. Maybe even less.
Yeah, I'd say 3.25. 3.25 around there for me. Next up we got Harley Quinn 39. There we go.
Yeah. I don't know. Somehow I got this going still. I still got them coming to me.
Okay.
I don't know if I ordered it or if they just, I was buying Harley Quinn all the time, so they just put it on there. I don't even know what happened in this issue though. It was better though. That's what I could say. The story. Oh yeah, she's with Mr. Freeze, and
so yeah, I can take over here. They basically at the end of the last issue, it seems like she's been going out now and trying to find something new for herself to do outside of the relationship with Ivy, and she's taken it upon herself to, it seems like she was going to get involved in being like a more of a bad guy, or like a more involved in crime aspects of her life that she had previously let go of, because she'd become more of like an anti-hero hero type of character.
Yeah, it seems like she wants to study these criminals and try and help them, actually. So it's not really a life of crime, but she's going to do bad things
Well, they set it
in
up as
pursuit
that.
of higher knowledge.
They set it up as that at first, or at least that's what she's trying to convince these guys. But that's what I was going to say. But what it turns out is that she's actually just trying to analyze these people and use her degree, the, like, the psychologist aspect of Harley Quinn's character more so, which they really haven't touched on that all that much, I guess, since she's become Harley Quinn. In certain storylines they have, but not to this degree, where she's actually using it to her advantage, the fact that she knows all these criminals and stuff like that, that she can kind of get in their heads and try to learn how they tick. And the way that she kind of uses it to their advantage is like, I'm going to teach you how to become a better criminal as a result, because I'm going to kind of help you out mentally with whatever your issues are or whatever. And, we'll go from there. So in this issue, she proposes that to the Mr. Freeze at the start of the issue. Like you said, the way the end of the last issue looked like she was going to join him in crime or something like that. And she's like, actually, this is what I'm looking to do. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, I'm a doctor and I'm not going to let you poking around my head or whatever like that. And then later on in the issue, she approaches Maxie Zeus, who's like a Zeus type character of some sort. And by the end of the issue, he's okay with it, and it looks like they're going to be having regular appointments. So that's kind of the direction. At least they have some sort of a storyline now, like it's like, to your point, I think this was okay. Like, it's like, okay, you're trying to tell an interesting, different type of story here after that phony baloney bullshit that we just dealt with for how many issues with the space stuff and the multiverse and the fucking your hyenas can talk and all that other dumb stuff that they were doing, right? Like, this is more grounded, I feel like, in that sense. So it's okay.
I think if they put this story in better hands, I think this could be an awesome story.
Right.
But I don't think it's in very good hands, personally.
And I didn't care for, I actually like Erica Henderson. She did another good backup. I didn't care for the backup in this issue. I thought it was just not as good. And she's actually the one that's doing the annual issue, I think, that comes out next week.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. But anyways, it was fine. Like you said, it could be better, but it has been worse. So I'll give it that.
For sure.
What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Same. Yeah. Next up, we got Rise of the Powers of X number 4. I actually quite like the regular cover on this, but I went for this Jubilee cover, even though she has nothing to do with this. But I actually really like this variant cover, so I ended up picking up this. But if Chris has got that one,
I got the Rise here.
Yeah, that one's nice. I really like that with all the skulls. That's a really good cover too. So yeah, but I liked this image, so I went with this one. All right, Chris, what'd you think of this?
Well, I think you can only talk about this comic along with
exactly
with that other one,
for X-Men Forever.
X-Men Forever. Yeah, I thought I had that on my pull list, but I guess I didn't. I don't know.
It goes. Basically, the events of both books are happening simultaneously, as it mentions in the X-Men Forever.
Yeah, you don't need. It doesn't matter which one you read first, but I think I'd rather, after reading, like, I read Powers of X first and then X-Men Forever second. But as for Powers of X, there's things going on, but freaking I don't know what's going on. Like, I can kind of follow the story. But, I guess here we have, I guess Professor X is still sort of making his deal with Orcus in this one still, or the Orcus AIs, or Sentinel and all that. And I don't know if he's still trying to trick him, because when he's going to the X-Men Forever, there's some people that are in on whatever plan he's got going on. But it's a crazy-ass plan. And once again, this is going to have to bleed into the X-Men Forever too. Is this wherever this white hot room they are, when the mutants die, they go into this mutant purgatory or whatever they go, like if they die in the real world. And I think that's just a crazy idea just to begin with. They should, like, if you die in the world, you should be dead. If you get come back.
Well, this was their answer to what had happened. Remember when they tried to kill them all, and then they ended up in the desert? That you know what I mean? Like, basically, this was the answer to try to save them. They had said,
I understand all those people that went to the gates went to this desert, But now, if you got killed in the real world, you're still ending up in the same desert
Yeah.
because Mr. Sinister ends up there. And does not Moria or Mora end up in there too?
Yeah, so that was, yeah, they set up that room as like they were like that wasn't meant to be the case, but they did it as a way to save everybody that basically was
Yeah.
getting taken out there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And basically the other plot line that's cooking this whole time within these two issues of Rise of Powers of X and X-Men Forever, which I guess we'll rate together because honestly I don't think much of differently on either of these because the events are so closely tied together. Kieran Gillen wrote them both. Basically that whole thing with the Phoenix is coming still has been building up for a while now.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to, I guess, leading up to be the answer of like, I guess, being a new status quo of all this shit that's going on here. I gotta say though, I've definitely lost the thread on all this Sins of Sinister type shit that happened ever
Yeah.
since Kieran Gillen started with that event. Because he was writing Immortal X-Men, but ever since that Sins of Sinister shit, I
Yeah.
have not been able to follow
Yeah. Things went off the rails. Like,
half the shit that happened in his side of the story because you got Jerry Duggan doing half the shit and you got Kieran Gillen doing the other half of the shit. I have not been able to follow as much with the Kieran Gillen side of stuff. And even reading this the week after the fall of House of X stuff came out, which has all the Jerry Duggan kind of story stuff in it. Yeah, I still much prefer that to this because this might be brilliant for all I know, but I can't I can't follow half of the shit that's going on. Like it seems really smartly written and really, really well thought out and things are coming together, but I'd be lying to you if I said I knew everything that's happening right now. I'm very confused.
yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, there could be lines that are key lines, and they're just going over my head, or
same.
they're not key lines, and I don't know. But I still do enjoy reading it. Like, I don't want to
Same. No, but that's
poo-poo on all of it. But
yeah, I was gonna get to that too. I still think it's good. It's just I'm still enjoying the experience, but yeah, I can't tell you everything that's happening. I'm a little
yeah,
confused.
you almost need like Cole's notes with this here to see what every line means. Which I think they did almost. I think is in the Weapon X-Men at the end of it.
Yeah,
They do have sort
yeah.
of every little Easter egg that's out there. Oh, when he says this is what they're referring to. So I thought that was nice. Maybe you could get some Cole's notes for this, just so everybody's on the same page.
It's the Sinister stuff. Ever since that became into play, like that aspect of the story, that's when I think everything got a little messy, right? With all the
Yeah,
clones and all the fucking
yeah.
timelines and
Because at the end of it, they're all back on Earth, right? They get
yeah.
some gates and some pods and they do that at the expense of all the people that are trapped in that white hot room. I imagine all those people die in there. Those are all the kind of the crappy mutants, let's say.
Well, yeah, because there's a point where the Racco guy, I forgot his
Yeah,
he's
oh,
like,
so I don't get to go.
I know it's like some young kid, like no damn mutant. She's like, oh, so we're just gonna be left here. He's like, hey, do you like this like pod that came from the tree? He's like, oh yeah, it's quite good. Well, you better like it because that's all there is to eat here. I'm just like, whoa,
Oh yeah, those tubers or
the
whatever.
tuber, yeah, the tuber, yeah.
Yeah, and we're going. No, you're not going. You're going to stay here.
That's what
It's going to really suck once we have to use all the energy from this place to send
yeah,
the good mutants,
yeah,
to
yeah,
send the popular mutants back to Earth, and you're just going to be stuck here eating those potatoes. Hope you like them.
yeah, that's what she said. Oh boy, yeah. So
I
that's
like that. Well,
yeah.
I guess it's one way to get rid of all these mutants because they freaking
There's too many.
every way they find a way to kill all these mutants. They spend all this time bringing all these weirdos into the world
That's
and then just wipe
literally
them out.
That's literally the X-Men like every fucking 5 years now it seems like. They need to wash, rinse, and repeat. Like, okay, all right, out with the old, in with the new. We need to fucking come up with a new status quo. We got to wipe out all the X-Men somehow. It's either it's no more mutants, and that's why
Yeah,
they're referencing the no more humans in this, because that happened to mutants a while ago too. Or they transport them all somewhere, or everyone gets killed, or everyone gets brought from the past to the
but
future.
for a story that's always supposed to be about the disadvantage and all that, they treat them like garbage all the time.
Yeah,
It's like you can't take these people. Oh yeah, we'll just put you on this camp over here.
Yeah.
that's sort of anti to whatever, the ideals that they're trying to put out there. But
Yeah.
that's another story.
Yeah. They just continuously get shit on.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a pro supremacist view, not so much a pro,
Yeah.
disadvantaged views.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So yeah, I guess we'll see how this all wraps up in another issue or so.
yeah,
What'd you give these books?
I was looking at about 3.75.
Same. Yeah. Both good art. Yeah, interesting story, but I think I would, if I was understanding everything that was happening here, these could have been probably higher rated and probably even like in contention for favorite of the week. But I can't. I just can't understand everything that's going on. It's just
I think what they're doing is just the stories, like it's all fun and games to kill people, but then you got to bring them back somehow, and you can never have those two, coincide and
yeah,
be good. It just reminds me of Lost, where the story is better than the endings.
right, right. Next up, Wolverine 48.
Wolverine 48. I got that here somewhere as well. Once again, I guess they have a lot of stuff going on between Wolverine and Sabretooth. So there's a lot of, yeah, there we go. That's the issue I got there, the A cover. But, I think it opens up with, Wolverine lying in a bed and got Sabretooth. He's trapped in the pit again, or a pit like, I guess, prison. And, they both kind of go through what they think, and Wolverine's all, oh, I've learned how to fight with family. Just some of those scenes though with Wolverine there, chumming around with, I guess, all his Wolver kids or whatever. That doesn't really sort of ring true there. But, and then you have Sabretooth, he's going, oh, every time something good comes my way,
Well,
something always gets I get the rug pulled out from me. Basically it's the same things happen to both of them,
yes.
but they just kind of had a different way of thinking about things, let's say.
Not only that, the reason they're showing you that shit with Wolverine is saying the difference is he actually has people that love him and like around him, and actually he does have friends and family, and
Yeah.
Sabretooth doesn't, right? So they're trying to say like these two guys are not so different actually when you boil it down to like the fact that they've both had terrible past lives, but Wolverine has something to fight for still, and Sabretooth doesn't. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's I actually liked that like kind of like it made you think a little bit because this whole
It makes
time
me like Sabretooth more and Wolverine less, unfortunately. I know it's supposed to be the other way around.
I mean you feel
I
worse
guess
for
I'm a bad person.
No, I think you would be correct by saying you feel worse for Sabretooth in that regard, but like, I think it's like again, it's what it's what happens, like nature versus nurture type shit. Like, did society make him this way, or was he born this way, right? And I think if you look at it, I think the way his life panned out because he didn't have the same things that Wolverine did at certain points of his life. That's why he's the way he is. But I think if you just looked at him head on and you're just like, this guy's a piece of garbage, he's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? That end of story, right? You wouldn't really even take that in consideration.
I think Sabretooth is right. He should be out there trying to save Wolverine from this freaking baloney life that he's living.
But yeah, I
But
liked it for that. But again, we were able to talk
yeah,
about it. We have different perspectives in that sense, right? I think it was really good, actually. I
that is
thought.
a good part of the story. But then this stuff with, they have that secret chamber because Wolverine, what the hell is Forge? Forge has got a lot of secrets, it seems like, because every time they need something, Forge has built up some secret
That's right.
compartment. He goes, oh, well, I realized one day I might lose my power, so I got Forge to whip me up a little bit of magic there at the end. With the big, they got to put a next on every freaking door link. Like all these doors have access. You kind of lose its cachet after a while. We go, oh, which door will it go to? Oh, all of them got access. Oh no, that Cyclops room that I Forge whipped him up, in case he could see again. Let me go into room C here. Oh, this is Nightcrawler's room in case he can't teleport. Oh, here's mine. And they're probably all the same thing in every room. It's a freaking suit.
Oh man, come on. That was an awesome ending, I thought. Remember Masa Blade? He doesn't have his healing factor and shit anymore.
Well,
Like,
I'm happy I have the sword there, but freaking what? He's going to put on a freaking
well, that blade, that's
adamantium armor, and all of a sudden, this rarest material that nobody can find. Oh, I got a freaking suit of it though.
that's what's awesome about it. This guy comes out in adamantium armor.
Uh, I
Oh,
do like the armor, but
and then
oh, come on.
That Muramasa blade, that's the blade that can kill Wolverine. Like that's the whole. There's a history behind that thing,
Yeah.
right? Like that's. I thought that was sick. That lead up, I'm like, what secret bunker? And then he comes out with the fucking adamantium armor. I was all in by the end. I was like, that
Well,
was
I think it's all spoiled because you do see the covers of the future. Like you knew this was coming. So that's one thing I don't like about solicitations. You kind of lose some of the spoils or the spoiler alerts, let's say.
yeah, no, I thought it was a lot of fun. I actually liked this issue a lot for those reasons. First, you start off with that whole Sabretooth moment where like it compares.
Oh, and then the bad seed. I don't know. This bad seed guy seems pretty bad.
Oh yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen with that.
Yeah,
And then,
he seems like a kick-ass character.
then you got this
I
Wolverine.
just hope Sabretooth and Wolverine don't have to team up to fight this bad seed guy.
They probably are.
I know.
They probably are. I mean, at least with 2 more issues to go, I have more faith that Benjamin Percy is going to land the plane, unlike his fucking X-Force one, where it was just like, oh yeah, Beast is he made a good decision at the end. All of a sudden, I was like, what the fuck?
Well, for Benjamin Percy, we just got to figure out which movie he's going to take it from. Is it going to be like the end of Unusual Suspects, or is this going to be the end of Ocean 13? Which movie is he going to choose? Which pop cultural movie? It's got to look at the top movies of the last 10 years and see which ones he hasn't used yet.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you give this?
I'll still give it a 4.
Oh, I give it 4.25. That part at the end put it over the top for me. Because it's so ridiculous. He's got the adamantium armor. Yeah. All right. Then lastly, Amazing Spider-Man 48.
Yeah, this cover was scaring me. Didn't they have a cover like this during that Beyond time or something?
Yeah.
But once I got into this issue, what can you say about this Todd Knock guy? He knocks it out of the park. This guy should be the permanent freaking artist for this. That makes the story so much better. I don't know if this story was good or not, but I thought it looked great. And for a Spider-Man comic, I thought this was a freaking definite 5 as the way things have been going, like just the stuff that, well, that's not my rating for the comic itself, but for the Amazing Spider-Man, this has been, one of the best issues I've read in a while, I think.
Nice.
With the stuff with you got Ben or Chasm and what's her name, Halloween or Hallows Eve, Betty. Betty, I guess I don't really care if she's there or not, but I guess she's in there with
yeah, she's all right.
With the Ned Lead stuff. And the stuff with the Goblin Queen. It's good that she revealed herself to be a freaking villain there, and almost Ben Parker or Chasm was kind of tricked by her. He's getting in the chair. Okay, you can get my memories back. He goes, well, there, Ben Parker. You know how I became the way I am.
I know.
It's because of you. So that was a nice swerve I liked.
How gullible is this fucking guy, though? Come on.
Well, he's got no memories. He doesn't know what's good or bad.
I just like the way he's getting fucking led around by one person to the next. Like, I'm just getting sick of this. Like, stop taking that.
Well, that's what happens when you have no memories. He's like he's like Big, that kid from the Tom Hanks. He's got no doesn't have anything to judge things by. He's got to take everybody at their word. I didn't realize the Goblin Queen was a freaking giant.
Yeah.
Because you see some of those scenes there where she's standing beside even Hallows Eve, like she's towering over her.
Yeah.
And that was good stuff.
That's a weird movie. I love Big, but that's a movie that hasn't aged well in some ways.
Oh, not at all.
But that's kind of part of the charm of that movie,
Yeah, a female pedophile. You don't see that very often in movies.
So I thought it was okay. I didn't love it as much as you did, but it was all right. Yeah, I don't really.
Well, I thought this was great. I do want to see Ben or Chasm get redeemed. Like I wanted to see him become a whole person. Him
Yeah.
and with him and whatever Hallows Eve, when they have their little conversation, say, fuck, I don't care if you don't have memories. We're chasing the past. Let's build a future. Screw all these people that are always messing around with us. Why don't they go to Arizona or go somewhere else and freaking just hang out, have their superpowers, and be cool? That's what they should do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
well,
I'm just waiting for the Sinister Six though. Like that's the one I like.
oh yeah, they're showing up there too. And I liked how you think they're gonna say, oh, once they're all together and all colluding, and so we gotta use all our powers to bring this. You figure they're gonna say bring Spider-Man to the ground, but no, that little swerve there, they're going after the Amazing Brain still for whatever reason,
Living Brain.
or
Yeah.
the Living Brain,
Uh,
and he's being protected by, I guess, the Oscorp, so they're gonna take that down.
yeah. Because
And one good thing that I thought was going to happen here too, because I've seen, once again, you see all those solicitations where you see there's that spider goblin running around. I thought they were going to turn Chasm into the spider goblin, and that didn't happen. And I thought for some reasons, Spider Man would get stuck in that chair, and then he'd get turned into the spider goblin. And I'm glad both of those things didn't happen. So we still have no idea how this spider goblin comes in. And now I have a question as to who the spider goblin is, because at the same time, it could be Chasm, it could be Peter. Who knows? Maybe freaking some other clone's going to pop in there. It does not necessarily mean that it's going to be Spider-Man that becomes the Spider Goblin.
right. Yeah. Guess we'll
So a
see.
lot of good things there.
Yep. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it as well. What'd you give this out of 5?
Yeah, still a 3.75 though.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm giving it. Yeah,
Yeah.
3.75 out of 5. All right. Very quickly, that's gonna do it for the books we wanted to talk about that we read this week, guys. Let's look at a couple of solicitations, though. We talked about Marvel and DC last week for July 2024 for upcoming books. So if you wanted to look at that, us talk about those, you can go back and watch last week's episode. Let me just bring up, we're going to look at quickly a couple of the other publishers like Dark Horse and Image here. Okay. So shout out to comicreleases.com. We're not affiliated by them, but this is what we use to look at the comics. They're a good source for that. I don't know if there's anything that you had seen, Chris, that you want to talk about specifically here. Witchblade looks like that's coming back.
Oh yeah, I think maybe Witchblade. That looks like could be a nice cheesecake issue
It
there.
is. I mean, that's kind of what the series was, even back.
Yeah, a little bit of 90s.
Yeah, but you got Marguerite Bennett writing it, Giuseppe Ferro, and Arif Prianto. I'm not familiar with the artist, but yeah, that's a Mark Silvestri creation there. It looks like they're launching a new series.
They do it in the Mark Silvestri style. That could be interesting.
Usually they do, yeah. What else we got here? Domain 1 of 5. This is a new Chip Zdarsky miniseries.
Oh yeah, I was reading about that. There's 2 of them. Like there's going to be a public domain, and then domain is the comic book they're writing in public domain.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, it says here a classic superhero story for those coming in fresh and a fun meta story for readers of public domain. Okay, I'm gonna probably have to check this out then. I didn't know that. Okay. All right, well, there you go. I probably will check this out. That's interesting. Looks like a fantasy-based comic of some sort here. Oh, no, never mind. When 3 best friends discover a crashed UFO, they also discover technology that gives them incredible abilities. But there's a catch. Only one of them can use the powers at a time. Interesting. So can their friendship survive the powers temptation? All right. Yeah. Okay. I probably will check this out then. Domain number 1. There you go. It's a 1 of 5 miniseries. Okay. Cool. Then we got Free Agents number 1. This is a Kurt Busiek book. Fabian Nicieza, giant size bargain price issue here. I like Kurt Busiek. They fought every day of their existence and won a terrible victory. Now they're stranded on Earth, free agents for the first time. But when relics from their long war appear, threatening their chance at better lives, their greatest battle begins. They fought for 1 million planets. Can they fight to save their own souls? Maybe I'll check this one online. I don't know. Kind of like a space superhero kind of book, it looks like. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't really sell me. Oh yeah, and public domain's coming back. Oh yeah, I'm all in. Nice. I liked public domain a lot. I thought it was over. I didn't know if they were going to do more. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think here they talk about writing that public domain or the domain comic.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in. I'm all in. That's awesome. Cool. And then how about this, Chris? Spawn kills every spot. 1 of 5. You
I
read
mean,
that?
if I see this online, I'll read it, but
Yeah.
I got to see who's involved in that.
I think that's it as far as new series go. We talked about Destro and the Scarlet one last time.
Yeah.
Drawing Blood's continuing here. Yeah, this is all older stuff now that we've talked about, like ongoing series. Those are the news things. Okay. So then let me just check back here. See, I think there's some interesting things in Dark Horse. Let's see here. Take a look here. I know that there's more Millerverse books coming out this month now that it's over there.
Yeah.
You said you had some plans for some of the Dark Horse stuff, so let's take a look here. Just trying to see some things that stick out here. Guilt Frame. There's a new Matt Kint book. I usually like his stuff. I don't know what this is about. A classic whodunit murder mystery that spans the globe from Paris to Hawaii to Montenegro as we hustle to keep up with the most unlikely murder-solving duo in the history of murder solvers. That might be good. Matt Kint's the one who's drawing it. Okay, I like his stuff. Okay, I might check that out. What else we got here? Whoa, let's Helen of Windhorn. I think that's gonna wrap up here with the 4th issue. I think it's 4 or 5 issues. That's been good. Where are we going here? What else we got? Nemesis, Rogues Gallery 2. Oh, the return of Nightclub, Chris.
Oh, I don't know if I'll go in for this Return of Nightclub. I'll probably read it online, but I don't know if I'll be buying it.
Nightclub 2. I guess it's gonna take pick up where they left off.
Well, they did leave off in a wacky spot. Well, even from what happened in what's that?
Big Game.
Big Game, yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Nemesis.
Yeah, definitely get Nemesis.
Yeah. What else we got here?
What's this Magic Order? They still got a series running, or is that something that's kind of just comes out in?
They're going to be doing another one, but I don't think they're bringing one out yet. Although, look at this. There's another new Mark Miller series. He's bringing back Prodigy, it looks like. I liked the first one that he did for this series. This is basically Prodigy's like the smartest man on the like he's just super fucking smart. Like he thinks like 10 steps ahead. He's kind of like a James Bond that's fucking super intelligence of sorts. I mean, all of these I'll be reading digitally because I always pick up the collections of Mark Miller stuff, so I usually will just read these online. But yeah, I liked the first Prodigy. I think he did 2, but I don't know if he wrote the second one. I think they did a second series, but he gave it to another writer, I think, to write the second one, if I'm not mistaken.
I worry about these ones because you really do have to be smart to write a super smart person.
I liked it. I thought he did a good job of it. Like
it's kind of like Monk or House almost, like where they just kind of know everything all the time.
He pulled it off. Like he's one of these guys that like the whole miniseries, the first one I read, it seemed like he was screwed. And then at the end, he was just like, it seemed like he was 10 steps ahead of everybody. Like one of those, like.
Well, that's it. It's hard, it's hard to pull a good twist.
I think he was successful when he did it, honestly.
Maybe I'll read some of the old ones, see what's
yeah. Just check it out. It's Prodigy by Mark Miller, the original one. And that's it. At least things that I want to talk about here. It looks like just some new Mark Miller books. So that's good for Dark Horse. I don't know why. Sorry, I don't know why he went there from Image, but maybe he got a better deal.
Yeah, maybe got a better deal or more creative power, or who knows.
And IDW, the reason I want to talk about this is because I think this is the start of the new Ninja Turtle series written by Jason Aaron this month in July, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just take a look here. This is all the collection. Oh, this is the issues here. Let's see here. Godzilla versus Power Rangers. Godzilla, a lot of Godzilla stuff. Maybe I am wrong. Sonic. Oh, no, here we go. Yeah, Ninja Turtles 2024, #1. Yeah, Jason Aaron, and I think he's doing different artists on each of the first few issues. Joelle Jones is the one on the first issue. All really good artists that they announced that are doing the first few issues of this. I don't know who's going to be the ongoing one. But, yeah, I'm definitely in for this. Some good covers. I'm looking forward to this. Very much looking forward to this one. So, yeah, that'll be good. A new good jumping
off. This is like a retelling of, well, not a retelling, but it's still the same turtles. This aren't like new turtles coming out there. We're not going to have like Joe, Frank, Bill, and Jack or something,
No. So it is a continuation, I think, of the ongoing series that's currently out, but it is still the original 4 core of the Turtles. But there is a lot of other side characters in the story as well that are in the world now of the Turtles. So I don't know. Again, I think it says it's a good jumping on point, and I think he's going to try to make it fairly accessible. But from what I understand, it's not another reboot. So like, there's been 150 issues of the IDW Ninja Turtles that have been going on for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years or whatever. And he's coming in now and trying to make it accessible as a jumping on point. So they're not
continuing whatever story's going on.
So they're going to go past this is not going to be an origin of sorts for them. It's just going to be like him taking over the reins, essentially, of the Turtles. But it's the first time it's been number one in 150 issues. So I'm guessing they're going to try to make it as a good jumping on point for most folks. So yeah, I'm in. I'm really looking forward to it. But okay, that's going to do it for new comic solicitations for July. What are you reading next week, Chris?
Oh, yeah, I was queuing some of that stuff up here. Let me just load it up.
You're queuing a cigarette for yourself.
That's it. Well, I got it. Solicitations, the Pavlovian response.
That's right.
Yeah, so I guess May we have is that the free comic book day, May 1st?
May 4th.
Or May 4th. Okay, so these are all part of the May things. But we do have is Blood Hunt coming out. I got the Red Band edition.
Yeah.
Get Fury, you're going to definitely read that. Iron Man reading, or going to buy that. X-Men 34. And let's see what we got going on at DC. Oops. Let's see, next week. Oh, not much going on in DC. I got Superman House of Brainiac. I'm probably picking that up. And let's see, where's Image? Yeah, nothing big from Image. Yeah, so it looks like it'd be a light week. It's odd that they'd have a light week on the free comic. Well, I guess the free comic book day is Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, with it being on May 1st next week, the new comic book day, or I guess May 30th for DC, this is a fifth week of sorts almost, you know what I mean? Like, which are always kind of lighter weeks, but there's actually a few interesting releases next week I'm really looking forward to. Like you said, Blood Hunt, I got the Red Band edition. Deadpool Wolverine World War III #1 comes out next week. Get Fury #1. So yeah, definitely some things I'm looking forward to. Then we got KI18, X-Men 34, and the conclusion of Sean Murphy's Zorro Man of the Dead comes out next week.
Yeah.
And then from DC, I just got the annuals because it is the fifth week for DC. So they usually just put out annuals. That's why there's not really much else. I got Nightwing and Harley Quinn annuals to look forward to next week. So that's what I got for that. And then a couple other things I'll read online, like the Superman Brainiac, House of Brainiac issue, and whatever else. But that's all I'm picking up physically next week. So yeah. All right. Our favorite book of the week, Chris.
I don't think there's a lot of good issues, but no real standouts. I'm going to have to go with... Yeah, I'm going with Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, I hate to do it, but I'm actually going to do it as well. Ultimate Spider-Man #4. Not that I hate it, because I'm still really enjoying this book, but yeah, you're right. There wasn't really too much competition this week for this title to win out again. And I feel like I've given it like almost every issue I feel like to this, but it's been fucking good. I mean, what can you say, right? I mean, I think the only other things I do want to mention, I did like Wolverine. Wolverine was good, but I think if I was going to give it to anything else over Spider-Man this week, it would have been Drawing Blood #1, just because it was something different and interesting this week that came out. And I kind of want people to check this out. Maybe even Chris, like if you can take a look at this online before the next issue comes out, take a look at this one. You might like this. It's pretty good.
I might try and even track that one down.
Yeah. So, but yeah, well, that's going to do it for this week, guys. Ultimate Spider-Man #4, our favorite of the week. We will see you guys next week. Thank you again for, if you do check out this show for 125 episodes of this stuff. We're still enjoying doing it. As far as I know, I don't know. Chris might secretly despise me over there. He's just like, I hate this. But yeah, no, we seem to have fun doing it, and they're fun putting out. And again, apologies for no art, but we thought we would. I think we did a pretty good job describing it without the art this week.
It's fun to do without the art.
Yeah, it was good. This is kind of how we used to do it, as Chris said at the start of the show. So it was kind of fun to do it without it, and actually pull from our recent memory. Thankfully, today we recorded at a time where it's only a couple days after the comics have come out. Sometimes at the end of those end of the week episodes that we do, it's a little more difficult. Where I'm just like, I need some art here, man. So yeah, no, this is fun. So thank you to Chris. Thanks, man. It's always a fun time, and we'll see you guys next week. Later.
Yep, always a good time. Go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go. Yeah, later, guys. See ya.